on, dun dun dun. Well, hey, welcome everyone. This is the Woodruff Show. Today we are, I always say live, but we're not technically live right now, but we are filming with a 3D camera if you want to check it out on YouTube. We also got some sweet merch too. Oh, we'll probably hook you up with some merch too. We forgot to do it beforehand,
awesome.
But
merch.
Yeah, some great stuff. Yeah, we got we got yellow T-shirts with the Woodruff Show. We got crop tops with the infamous Stay Tuned. So yeah, if you guys are looking for that, it'll be available soon. Is it available yet?
You gotta ask nicely, and you gotta ask the right person.
If you know someone in the Weird Move West team, or you know any of us, yeah, it is available. But right now, I do not think it's on the website. But you should check anyway, weirdmovewest.com. Today we have Krystall Poppin. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Krystall Poppin, born and raised right here in El Paso, Texas. What's up?
Nice. So wait, so have you always been into music in the rap scene, or where'd you get your start, or what's going on here?
Well, I've always just loved music. Before I even started making it, like music is just my thing. I love listening to it. Anything from rap to like old school rock, you know what I mean, like the Beatles, the Doors, stuff like that. So I feel like I grew like a really eclectic like listening, you know, like an ear. And then I think it was after high school sometime that it really found me, I think.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I grew up writing poetry. I think that's what led it into it initially. That's where the root is. But I had rapped for some people one time, and they were like, hey, we make music. We would love to record you. And I was just like, oh, yeah, that just sounded crazy to me at the time. And then I ended up going to the studio and making songs. And, like, ever since I heard, like myself on some songs, then I fell in love with it.
You're like,
and
okay, this actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and it was really
flow.
fun. And I was like, hey, I love this. And then that turned into, like, doing shows. And as soon as I did shows, like, that's when I knew. That's when I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Nice.
Sure.
What was your first show?
So I count 2 shows as my first show, technically. So, like, the first one, I was just kind of featured on someone else's show. So I just came out for, like, one song.
Whose show?
His name's Bland Poe. I don't think he makes music anymore. But
fair enough.
at the time, it was at Marco Polo. It was, like, the old Cincy. So that was, like, technically my first time on stage. But I really count my first time on stage at the Percolator.
I still have yet to go to the Percolator.
It's not there anymore.
It's not. So someone told me it came back. Is that true? I don't know. That's what I've heard.
I'm not sure. That would be cool because it was such a cool venue.
Yeah,
it was like real low key and stuff. But,
where was the Percolator again?
It was downtown.
Yeah. I think it's. I don't know. Don't quote me on this, but I think it might be back because we were talking about it last time about with drag shows or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about how back in the day. Do you know? Can you account for that, Haza? Do you know if we were talking about that?
I remember the old version of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay,
I haven't been
nice.
to the new one, but the old one was super tight. They had like a theater in the back, and you know they had like super low key shows, and you know what I mean. Like you had to know someone to know someone sometimes.
Legendary, huh?
Yeah. It's a legendary spot for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. So how'd you get connected with Percolator?
So our friend G&D was promoting the shows there. And he happened to like hear that I was making music, and because I was like posting the songs on Facebook at the time, you know, and then he was just like, hey, I think he had reached out, and he was like, hey, I do shows, like, this is how it works, if you want to come do a show, and I was just like, yes, I want to go do it, and then I did a few there, and then eventually, you know, my shows started getting bigger, and then, like, you know, going around the city, and
so you kind of got your chops at the Percolator.
Yeah, for sure.
How many shows did you end up playing there?
I probably did maybe like 4 or 5 at the Percolator before I started doing like Lowbrow, and you know, like I eventually made it to Tricky Falls.
Nice. So it's closed down, I'm pretty sure now.
No, it's so sad. All these venues are closing down, and they're like my history.
No, definitely. I feel like there's a lot of that in El Paso too. There's like some hidden theaters that are still around that aren't really venues now, but I feel like they'll come back and like later down. Now that a lot of the music scene's kind of building, I feel like they're popping up again.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of cool new spots are popping up too. So I'm saying, like, I know they're doing like a lot of shows at Prickly Elder, and I really like
the Prickly Elder venue's sick.
It's cool, right?
It's just
like
close.
It's different.
Yeah.
And, you know, like little spots like that. I think that the Paso music scene is really like, and the venue scene, I guess, is really starting to like grow and really become something really awesome. So I'm really loving it.
Dude, they're moving lowbrow on Texas Street. Their build out looks pretty cool.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, they're doing some shows right now outside, like while it's getting under construction. They're doing that out in like kind of neon desert stages, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I kind of leave. How do you guys know each other?
So I'm here with DS Jr. and DS is my manager, and he has been for the past 5 years maybe.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, we've just been building together on that, and I met both of them at the same time, around the same time, 3 a.m. We met in the studio one day. I was recording. We were recording with the same producer.
Okay.
His name's Casanova. And so we just kind of like ran into each other, and eventually we started like, hey, like we should link up and make music together.
Okay.
And eventually that led us to being in a group together, like a rap group.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was me, him, and Mikey Cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the rap group called?
It was called LFDC.
Okay.
And it stood for Live from the Corner.
Live from the Corner. All right. Nice.
And it meant like from the corner of Texas because we're in El Paso.
Ah, nice. Dude, so what's his name? Vander Grimm. He had the step, correct? Is
The
that
step.
South Texas, El Paso? Is that true? I didn't know that.
Well, I think it's literally translates from
On
El
the step.
Paso in
Okay.
Spanish, translate to the step.
Oh, really?
In English, yeah.
Okay. Because I was wondering. So I've heard like a lot of little things what the step was. So okay, that makes more sense.
But that's a cool like acronym.
I like it.
I hadn't even heard about that.
Okay,
but I was
cool.
just like, oh, the step, El Paso. That makes sense.
What was it? The one that you thought?
South Texas, El Paso, or something like that. But it's not really south. It's west. So I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, interesting, but okay.
Technically.
El Paso in Spanish is supposed to be like the Paso of the North.
Yeah, the Paso of the North.
El Paso in Spanish, it also means like a step forward. So the step, you know what I mean?
Really, El Paso in Spanish means like a step. Okay.
Like a step, yeah.
Nice. I wonder if EP Forward kind of touches on that little acronym too or anything.
Maybe,
Oh.
possibly.
Yeah. Interesting. El
Nice.
Paso's doing a lot of things right
Yeah,
now. It's
El
all good
Paso?
EP. I like that. I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty funny. It's all good. Like, all right, we got a little
It's all
Rastafarian.
good EP. Did you remember when that Billboard first came out?
That's all good EP. No.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like on Mesa, I think.
Okay.
And then it was funny because it was like 1 week it would only say it's, and then like and then it was all black
That's
the rest
right.
of it. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then the next week it was like all, and then eventually down the week, and after the whole Billboard was up, it said it's all good EP.
Nice.
Like, hashtag. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
is
hey,
cool.
that's
Clever.
That's clever. Yeah. For
Yeah, El
sure.
Paso, you guys are doing some good things right now.
Yeah.
So I want to jump into your shows again. So how many songs would you play when you first started?
When I first started,
Yeah, like
the
how long's
shows,
like a normal set?
well, now I'm doing about 20 minutes.
20 minutes, cool.
Before, when I only had a few songs, I would probably do maybe like 5, not even 10 minutes. I wouldn't
Okay.
even make it to 10 minutes. And but now I feel like I have so many songs that now I'm just like, I don't know which ones to fit in the
Okay.
set. So I mean, it's a good problem to
Yeah,
have.
no, that's
but
great.
It's cool. Sometimes we can switch it up and like keep it interesting and stuff. So, but yeah, it's about 20 minutes set. That's what I'm like touring on right now.
What was your first song you played on live? Yeah.
The first song I did was my first song, and it was called Talk of the Town.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not, there's no record of it anywhere.
Really?
Except in my laptop, maybe somewhere hidden. But it's not, you can't find it anywhere.
Okay.
The lost EPs.
The lost archives.
The early days of Krystall Poppin.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, that was a cool song. It was just basically, it was real braggadocious, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, I stated my name, I was kind of like claiming my spot.
Your space, okay.
Yeah.
Which
Nice.
is hip hop tradition.
For sure,
Yeah.
definitely. It has to be your first song, right?
Yeah, definitely. So what kind of music would you say you're mostly focused in? Hip hop and like with an eclectic kind of outside, or?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's hip hop for sure. I definitely see it evolving into something that kind of like lends from other things. I did take a year off about 2 years ago, and I did this like secret band. And I told, it was me and DS Jr. in the band.
Nice.
And then I was like, hey, we're not going to do anything hip hop. This is totally going to be experimental. And we like played around with sounds, and I like sang, and I wasn't rapping at all. And I
Okay.
was just like doing these like howls and stuff like that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I feel like it was like 80s vibe mixed. Like I made a song that I felt like it kind of sounded like Jim Morrison a little
Okay.
bit. You know what I mean?
Okay, nice.
And after that year, of experimenting, then I was like, you know what, I miss rapping. Like that's where my heart and soul belongs. So I started rapping again, and I noticed that like it had shaped me to like it kind of in doing the style that I'm doing now.
Yeah, it kind of helped you evolve you and stuff like that.
Yeah, it helped me evolve for sure.
That kind of funny because Kids See Ghosts, your little shirt over there, I feel like that's kind of similar. Kid Cudi kind of went through like his hip hop phase and got real experimental, and now Kids See Ghosts, he's kind of coming back to his roots and all that.
Definitely.
It seems like hip hop in itself is really kind of figuring itself out too. Like it seems like 90s hip hop and the genre is like very keen, like everyone kind of understands it, but like 2020 and 2015 kind of hip hop, there's like so much sound and so many noises that are going on where like it seems like the old generation's like, oh, that's not real hip hop, like you're blah blah blah. Like what do you feel about how the hip hop becoming, like I'll argue hip hop's pop culture now. Like it is the most popular sound. It's everywhere around the world. You have people from China, Africa, Korea, Europe, all these places kind of putting their mark on hip hop. Like what are your thoughts on hip hop nowadays?
I love it.
Okay.
I love the direction that hip hop is going. I feel like it's finally, it has its roots and it's starting to evolve into something where people are having more fun, you know, with it. And they're really like putting their own touch in it. And it's starting to become this like how you can have rock, but there's so many subgenres of rock, right? That's what's happening in hip hop, and it's so great because there's something for everybody now.
No, I totally agree with that. And like, it seems like a lot of the topics are getting broader. You have everything from like mental health to like school to like all these things, not just like the gangster culture or like the dance party culture. It's like really kind of touching all ailments of life, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah.
I've had a little debate in the past about like, oh, hip hop's lost its touch and like old hip hop was the best. Like,
it was a big debate. It was a big debate.
It was, and I wasn't as prepared as I could have been, man, because I'm a huge fan of artists these days, and I like was caught off guard, so I like didn't really name like half the guys I like, but whatever, dude.
I love the golden era of hip hop, 90s hip hop. That's what I grew up listening to. My parents listened to that, both of my parents.
Okay.
So that's like in my core, and I think that contributes a lot to the reason why I'm doing music right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I fell in love with rap so early on. But I think that there's definitely going to be people that feel like we're losing touch with it.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be scared of like what's new and what's coming, because that, like, if you listen to that, then you're just going to like grow with everything. You're not going to lose it yourself, because like at the end of the day, everyone is an artist and they have the right to express themselves, and hip hop shouldn't be stagnant just because we love where it came from. You know what I mean? Hip hop needs to evolve as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And it seems like, and it's kind of, I appreciate the haters in the past who like are saying like, oh, this isn't hip hop, because it means that hip hop's gotten so complex that there isn't really like a core of what this is anymore. It's more of like this living thing that's kind of taking over the world, and so everyone's involved. And so like that kind of comes with the territory of like, all right, you know what, there's going to be the people from the past who like think they created it, even though like 90s hip hop has its roots in like jazz and like skit scat and all these other things like from like I'd say the 70s and even like the 20s, so like music's always evolving. And so like I'm pretty excited about that. But what are some 90s hip hop that you really appreciate or you feel like kind of helped form your roots?
Well, I grew up listening all the time. Mostly what I remember is like Tupac and Biggie, of course. And I know that sounds cliche, but that is the time that I started listening to hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I mean, like I was little, like singing like Biggie songs and stuff like that. NWA, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Even like DJs, like DJ Rectangle. Do you know DJ Rectangle? Like, my mom was her favorite tape. Like, she would throw in the tape, and then I knew all the songs. Like, he was like mixing one song into another, and I knew the transitions and like everything. Man, I love that. Like this, that is so dope. And my father, he would like make mixtapes, like not him rapping, but kind of like what a DJ would do.
Okay.
So he has just like this whole box of like cassette tapes of like mixed like DJs and like 90s rap and like all this stuff, and it's so awesome.
Wait, how would he make like mixtapes on cassettes?
On the stereo, the boombox,
he knows this
like
guy.
press
He's like,
record,
I got it.
and then that song
so
with the jams coming on.
Because I used to make tapes, like cassette tapes, but I never would like I don't know if I mixed them together. I'd always be like I remember my first like Love or Girlfriend or whatever, like it was definitely a cassette tape where you're like recording, you like pause it and like take the tape out, put it in. Is that the same box with the same boom box?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, and they would just like mix two sounds maybe. Like, how did you do it at the same time?
And then as well, he was friends with DJs that literally had turntables and everything like that, and he was recording that as well. So I have a bunch of like just like listening to that and like just different. And he also listened not only rap, but he loved oldies. And in El Paso, like the golden oldies, like everyone listens to oldies on Sundays. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
And so there's a bunch of those too. And then that's just like I grew up like listening to oldies as well. I know a lot of oldies.
Nice.
Too.
Do you still have his cassette collection?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, although that's like one of my prized possessions for sure.
Did that kind of evolve into a CD collection?
I'm turning it into digital right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm like recording them and turning them into MP3s. So I'm trying to categorize them, but there's so much. I'll eventually get through it, but like it's pretty cool kind of like diving into like the past in that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. So do you listen to cassette still and kind of have a cassette player that you can jump into?
Yeah, because I feel like the sound is different. You know, when you actually listen to a cassette, it's like a purer sound than like digital.
Okay.
And if that sound make any sense?
No, it makes sense.
I mean?
Every 20 minutes you gotta flip it around.
Oh yeah. And then if you like a song, you gotta like rewind it, like get on the right spot. Like
yeah. Dude, cassettes, I'd always mess them up too, man. Like I'd always like take it out too early or something, where like the film would all break and like you're like, fuck, roll it in with your finger.
Oh yeah, or you gotta like super glue like the piece together.
Yeah.
It breaks and I like.
Dude, that was an interesting transition from like record to cassette, because like CD and record I see like a nice similarity, but like the cassette was such a unique shape and like the way it played music, like I don't know, like I wonder if there's going to be a renaissance of cassettes. You know, when later did their like one of their parties, they like gave invitations that were cassettes.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, do you think the record's gonna like the cassette's gonna turn into the record where everyone's like buying records because like the
sound?
I
definitely think people are into vinyls right now. Like
vinyls
a lot.
Are huge.
Vinyls are like blowing back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they've always been around, even through CDs, cassettes, all of digital. Vinyls are valuable, but right now, like for some reason, I keep hearing that they're booming. So that's really cool. But I don't know if cassettes are actually going to come back, just because of people get annoyed with the way you got to listen to them. You know what I mean? Like the whole, rewinding thing. You don't know what song is where or anything like that.
Are you one of those music purists who can like tell the difference on vinyl and like regular CDs and all that, like digitized?
Oh, I mean, I think there's like a crackling sound.
Yeah, there is.
That
there
real
is.
Nice, like.
I have vinyl and I do like it, but I don't know if I'm like full of shit or if I like really know that like I'm getting the experience.
No, I feel you are, because it's a different wave that you're listening to.
Yeah.
Then digital, it's all like numbers and like
Yeah, I could see that. There's something with like kind of having the texture of the record take like in just pure audio form before digitizing it and sending it into the internet.
I also think that it just slows you down. Like you have to go and physically take it out, and then you listen to side A, and then you get this other experience when you flip it over. And some records you love side A but not side B, things like that. Yeah. And just going back a little bit to the whole idea of how hip hop has changed over time, I actually really appreciate that in your music, you're pretty strong on traditional hip hop tropes, braggadocio, like, establishing name and like, this is where I'm from, this is what I represent. And I mean, she's kind of traditional in some ways.
Yeah,
Like,
I definitely feel that for sure. I think that when I started rapping, I would write. You know what I mean? My mission when I wrote a song was I need to have like the best, most complex, rhyme scheme, bars, and the biggest words. You know what I mean? That was my goal. And if I had the biggest words, then the next guy, then I had a better song. You know what I mean? And that's where I came from.
Nice.
It wasn't just like, oh, let me just say whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
And keep it light. My mission was to make sure that they knew I could rap for real. And then now I think that because I did that, now when I want to make like a fun track, like I can still incorporate like really clever scheme and stuff, but I know how to manipulate it to where you're actually having a good time and like you can, it's catchy, but I'm actually saying stuff.
So is that kind of your process? Do you write it all down first and then you start rapping it, or do you like freestyle, or what?
I prefer to write.
You prefer to write? Okay, cool. Because we were talking to Swell Kids the other day, and they were talking with like Khalid or someone similar to that, and they were talking about how like there's a beat and they'll like mumble over it a little bit to like get the rhythm of the song and the feeling of it, and then they'll start like writing on top of the mumble and actually like get the lyrics out.
Oh yeah, that I do that too. Like
really?
where I'm like, okay, let me catch a melody, like whatever first can come to my mind when I hear a beat. And then like once I have like a melody, like I know where I'm gonna like do the bounce. Then I like fill it up with words, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this bounce, and then I'll start writing like okay, I want to say this, and it kind of just like comes together.
What's the bounce?
The bounce is like your
when it drops or what?
Yeah, where you're like your flow.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical, it's called prosody, which is the rhythm of how the words will. How the phrases and words themselves have their own rhythm that then complements the rhythm of the song.
Definitely.
If you want to get
I like poetry a lot too, and I do write a lot of poetry.
My favorite poem ever, he wrote it.
No way! I have to hear it.
It's good. It's good. Actually, so I'm recently married, and I've written my wife a poem every day since we've been dating.
Aww.
And so like I'm still on it. I'm like 2 days behind right now, so like I'll catch up every now and then. But I've been pretty consistent, and I don't know. It's kind of cool because. It's like I do a lot of routines in my life. I'm a very like routine guy, and like so I think a morning poem is good to like just kind of invoke some positivity. Like I don't like journal bad things. Poems are only for like good words and like kind of good emotions and stuff like that. So it's like a quick thing to like kind of appreciate and like kind of be excited about the day.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thanks, man.
I think that's great.
Yeah. And,
the wholesome rapper.
Yeah.
The wholesome rapper. I love that.
But do you do it as discipline, or do you feel like you're getting better as like you keep writing poems every day?
I feel like I feel like I'm getting better the whole process, but I do kind of definitely feel like there's definitely some poems that were rushed and like not as kind of well thought out as other poems. But like if I continue that, I just kind of want to if I can continue that forever, like and have like 20,000 poems. There's probably like 1,000 in there that are like epic, you know.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know, I'll tie in like a lot of like I'll try to think of funny things that happened that day, just so like when she reads them later, she can kind of like reconnect to like the weird stuff of that day.
That's cool.
And, like little inside jokes and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Like, hopefully no one else reads them because like it's I don't know.
Your
well,
children
that's awesome practice. You know, a lot of rappers don't even do that.
Yeah.
No. These guys are always like, write a 16 a day. That means like 16 bars a day.
Nice.
You know, I try my best to do a day, but you know, sometimes life gets in the way.
100%.
But the fact that you're doing it every day, like it's part of your routine, that's beautiful.
I'm not hitting it every day, but I have enough for every day.
Oh, okay.
Like there's some days I'll write 3, some days I'll write
cool.
like 2 just to like catch up. Cause life gets in the way, you know, like some days you're busy and then you're like, oh, you forget. But like, it's just like you'll see around the office, there's like this small notepad and like I just fill out the notepad. It's like probably 16 lines.
Wow.
And so it's like pretty quick.
That's cool.
And it's not all rhythmic, you know, like sometimes it's kind of like Walt Whitman where I'm just like writing about the day.
As long as you're doing it.
Yeah. Dude, but I really do believe like kind of daily writing, like the daily practice. There's this book called The Artist's Way. It's like a really goofy book about like kind of like finding your inner creativity, your inner soul, like really fluffy language to just like make you feel really good about yourself. Yeah. But like the main thing is this thing called morning pages, and it's like 1,000 words a day. And like don't judge what you're writing, just like flow it out of you 1,000 words. And if you hit that every day, like it really helps organize your brain and organize your like thought structure and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's like I don't know, I did it for like 3 months. It just says do a minimum of 3 months and see how it is.
Okay.
And like, dude, it really did kind of change my life. Like it really calmed me down. It really focused me. It kind of like you read back and you're like, dude, I've been writing like 2 weeks in a row, like 3 months ago about this one thing. And like then like a month later, like something else happened that totally changed like my mood and my attitude and like I don't know, just seeing yourself be all emotional and write shit down. It's always fun to look back. And
That's cool.
Like,
I think I'm gonna adopt that.
Dude, it's fun.
Cool.
Yeah, like daily writing. I'm a huge fan of getting something down, like journaling or poetry. Like I'll journal like the negative things to just get out of my head, but the poetry is always for me like trying to be positive.
Oh, yeah, my journal's the depressing little book.
Yeah, man.
But my poems are super fun.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's like don't read my journal.
Don't read my journal. Go look at the poem.
Yeah, exactly.
My journal is a tragedy.
Yes, exactly. Poetry's the comedy, journal's the tragedy. Get them out there and just bare your soul out to yourself. Yeah, no, it's great. So that's cool, man. So you got really lyrically in poetry. Like, were there any kind of things in your childhood that you think laid the foundation of like your creative career? Were there any like stuff you're interested in painting?
So there's a few things I think that happened that I think back in my childhood that led me here. First of all, I think that I was just like when in class they'd say it's time to write, creative essay. I would get like all into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I even won this competition in my elementary school.
Where'd you go to elementary school?
It was Travis Elementary School.
Okay, Travis, nice.
Yeah, it's in Central.
Yeah.
So there was like a school-wide contest, and it was like when 9/11 had just happened. And so we had to write about freedom. And I was just like, it was just like heartfelt, like freedom essay from this little girl. And I won the contest, and they let me like read it over the like loudspeaker in the office.
Nice.
And I was like so awesome. And so that was really cool. I also won this competition in the same school where I wrote a book. Everyone, they get these little like white books, blank. Every page was blank, and you just kind of had to be the author and the illustrator. And I wrote this book about like Cupid, and like it was this like cute little story. But I ended up winning again.
Really nice. You read it? You read it? Nice.
He told me about it, and I was like, we need to publish this.
Yeah,
we need this out.
Yeah, that's why I can't give too much away because I eventually want to publish it.
Nice. Heck yeah.
But it's a really cool, like, so these are just like things that happened when I was real young that I was like enjoying writing. And then it's funny because anytime I would get in trouble at home, they would make me write as a punishment.
Really?
Like pages and pages, like about what I did wrong, and then like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
like
was it kind of like the Bart Simpson thing where you repeated everything, or you had to like the whole story?
Well, sometimes it would be like I had to write one sentence over and over, or I had to write about what I did and why it was wrong.
Yeah,
and
how
like
you feel
I would
about
never do
it.
it again.
Nice.
And, you know, stuff like that. So I mean, writing has always been in my childhood.
Dude, that's a great punishment.
I know,
like,
right?
Make your
It's
kid
very
write.
productive punishment.
Yeah, like I want to figure out little things for like future kids. Like how am I gonna like actually make you build as a person while also getting like kind of making you feel bad for doing something wrong.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Exactly.
You got to make a painting about talking back to
Yes,
grandma.
exactly.
Yeah, like something super productive. Yeah.
Maybe you could do it where like, you know what, you're grounded for a week, or you can write an essay.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, see? That's cool.
Like, oh, you got in a fight with grandma, you have to do a portrait of her. Like a happy portrait, make her look good.
That's funny. D, he's like a super boss at Photoshop.
Oh, nice.
So like he always says that when he has kids, that if they want like an allowance or if they're in trouble, like he's gonna make them do something on Photoshop.
Yeah,
like,
dude, 100%.
Go make a flyer for this and that, and then you can go out or like something like that.
Yeah.
I always thought that was hilarious.
Like, oh, you want to sell lemonade? Like, make a flyer for it,
make
post
a
it around the
flyer for it on
neighborhood, give
Photoshop.
it the date, and go do it.
Like,
Animate it.
Party, make a flyer.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You want to have a
Yeah.
party? All right, you have to prep it, you have to do all this, like you have to get ready. Dude, that's really interesting. Like, I feel like in the future it'd definitely be great for kind of punishing your kid with building his skill set.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Like that's a beautiful way. You know what I mean?
It could
Beautiful.
backfire though, because like you hate writing because you're always in trouble when you write, and then all of a sudden you're a great writer, but you don't ever want to write because it just like brings you trauma
I
back.
can see that. I can see that for sure.
You're like,
Thank
nah,
God
man.
that didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
Imagine I was just like I
can't
would
do
have never
it.
wrote. I would have never rapped.
How old
If
were
it
you
was
when you did the Cupid thing?
I think I was in like second grade.
Oh, damn, second
yeah,
grade.
I was like real young, maybe third grade maybe.
How long was this? This was like a children's kind of book?
It was
or?
a children's book, yeah.
Okay, cool,
And like
cool.
even the drawings are super cute. The Cupid has a little like bow
Really?
and arrow and stuff. Yeah, I wasn't the best illustrator, but
I mean, second grade,
like I
come on.
killed that story.
Nice.
Well, the part about them having you read it to everyone, I mean, doesn't that give a sense of like, I can be this for everybody, you know? I can do
I can
this
hold
for
your
people.
attention. I can,
Yeah, and that's just something I never forgot. And like I still remember how I felt that day. Like I was so proud, and like they walked me to the office that morning, and you know, like they gave me little cookies, and I was just like, all right, here you go. And then I like after the announcements and the Pledge of Allegiance and all that, they were like, all right, we're gonna have the winner of the Freedom Essay read her stories, Krystall, you know, so like
Nice.
it was one of the highlights of my childhood.
Like teary-eyed coming in, you're like, damn, that's fucking real.
I almost cried at the end because
Like
at
my
the
teacher.
end I'm like, freedom is in your heart. That was like the last line, you know.
Aw.
I still remember it because I almost cried.
Nice. That is perfect.
Yeah, it was
That
cool.
it kind of gives you permission, right? And I think that's super important as an artist to feel like you are entitled to your art and to what you have to say, and like I can do this for people.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting to see people that are self-assured like that.
Yeah.
Because I teach at university. Sometimes a lot of young people with like high ideas and a lot of talent, but so often they don't feel like they have permission.
Okay.
And I'm like, who's gonna give you that permission? I mean, just
I know exactly what you're talking about because I think that even after I started, you know, rapping, doing shows, for the longest time, I couldn't even believe that I was, you know, gonna be like I even was like gonna be a rapper.
Yeah.
You know, or like be like this could be something. Like, who am I kidding? You know, you always have those doubts,
100%.
especially when you're a new artist. And it like anytime that I thought, no, this isn't for me, something would always happen that was like, no, you need to do this. I think there's times where people feel like they're going to give up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there was like a real time where I was legit going to give up, but once. Just because everything was happening, like in my personal life, artist-wise, like everything was kind of just overwhelming. And then I was like, you know what, I can't do this. And then that very day, my first producer, Casanova, he called me, and he hadn't called me in a long time. We hadn't talked in a while.
Okay.
And he called me for some reason that day, and he's just like, hey, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you for a while, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm proud of you and everything you've accomplished and everything you've done so far. And I took that. I was like, that's a sign from the universe. I'm never going to stop, and I'm going to keep going. And I pushed harder after that. Like, ever since then, like, I knew, like, that giving up is not an option for sure.
Nice. What do you think kind of gave you the confidence to try? Like, that's kind of like, you know, like when you're saying permission, no one's going to give you permission. Like, it's so hard to, like, first of all, appreciate your own work, and then kind of go to the next step and being like, maybe someone else might be touched by this or affected by it. I want to share it. Like, how did you get the confidence to actually start sharing your talent?
I think after maybe maybe there was a few things. One of them was after I recorded my first song, my mom was there. Because we recorded it at my house, in my bedroom.
Nice.
So
you just had the equipment or something?
Well, they brought the studio equipment over.
Really nice.
And they set it all up and stuff. And after the session was over, I was like, yo, let me call my mom in here and show her what I'm doing. Because, I mean, before that, I had never done music or anything like it. So then I put the headphones on her, and as soon as she heard my voice, she started crying.
Oh, man.
And she was, like, so proud of me. And I was just like, what? Like, my mom's not one to cry.
Okay?
And, like, she was just, like, you know, having this moment, and that just, like, made me feel crazy inside. I was just like, whoa, like, can I really do this? Like, this is crazy. I never thought. And then, so that was, like, one of the moments. And then another moment was at my performance at the Percolator.
Percolator.
Yeah, the Percolator.
The infamous Percolator.
The infamous El Paso Percolator. At that show, I performed, and everyone was, like, going crazy. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, because I think the thing was that usually at those shows it's mostly guys. You know what I mean? Maybe here and there's a girl, or she'll be super timid, but I told myself, like, if I'm going to get on the stage, I'm going to do it for real, you know? So I went up there, and I was just, like, in everyone's face, and I was loud, and, you know, I was having fun. I was jumping around, and just, like, everyone's response, that's when I was like, whoa, like this is good. Like, I need to keep doing
like, damn,
this.
dude, the people are loving this.
Yeah, people are loving this.
I'm on fire right now.
Yeah, I felt like I was on fire, and I was just like, I got to keep going. I think that's kind of, like, where it all started, like, to where I was like, because I think if they hadn't responded like that, that's when I would have started doubting myself or something. But from day one, people were like feeling it. It was crazy.
How'd you get on stage with confidence? That was like one of your first times up on stage.
I think a part of it has to do with just who I am, you know, just like me. I feel
inner
like,
fire.
I feel like I have inner fire, like naturally.
Nice.
So I think that helped. Even though I was nervous, super nervous that day, I knew, like, I just kept talking to myself. I was like, I got this. I know my song inside and out. I could do this. There's no reason why I can't. And I went full force, and it paid off.
Nice, dude. For some reason, it reminds me of, like, 8 Mile and, like, at his little fucking thing. It was like, it's your moment to own it. Like, I need to go check out this Percolator. I've heard about it a couple times. It sounds like it's a cool vibe, a cool place to kind of, like, have a start and stuff like that.
If it's in the same spot, then for sure. I mean, I don't know if the new one's going to look the same or even the same vibe, but if it is, then it's a real cool spot.
Yeah. Hey, Percolator guys, if you guys are listening, man, like, jump on. Like, I'd love to chat with you guys about what's going on.
The cool thing about the Percolators when we're doing shows there was during the day, it was like this nice, happy little coffee shop. Yeah. And then they would close, and they would be throwing, like, just hardcore rap concerts. And we would go in there, and when they put a stage in there, we could touch the ceiling. So we're, like, breaking ceiling tiles. We're throwing water around this thing, and we're getting crazy in there. And then the next morning, it'd be swept up, and then they'd be serving croissants.
Croissants. People are reading, like, poetry, and, like, little kids are walking around. Dude, that's
legendary
so funny.
Percolator.
Dude, that's awesome. How many people could it fit in the Percolator?
Maybe, like, like
that
80 to
maybe 100.
Like,
if it was
packed.
packed house,
yeah, if it's
you know
packed,
what I
maybe
mean?
100. The reason why the Percolator shows were special were because G&D, the home, he's my friend that used to run it. He used to make the artists sell tickets in order to perform, and that's like a big no in promotion type of things.
Yeah.
But the reason why I worked in this situation was because he was given an opportunity to all the brand new, like anyone could come and perform. And so therefore, the Percolator became the place where everybody was getting their start. It was the first stage they were jumping on. It was their first show, and it could be anyone. If you wanted to be a rapper and you just made 2 songs in your bedroom, and now you wanted to go do a show, you'd get your friends together, talk to G&D, you'd go sell 10 tickets, and then you would show up to a lineup of like 20 rappers, but it was packed. And that's where a lot of local artists got their start, and therefore now it's just kind of like this like legendary thing, you know. My homie that was doing that eventually started having problems with the owner, and then he bought the place. He was like, well, you know what, if you don't want to work with me, sell me the spot. And he ended up buying it, and then it went on for a lot of years, and it got bigger and bigger. And I don't remember exactly why he stopped because of his personal life.
Okay.
But he's always talked about doing it again, and I think it would be dope. Like,
wait, so it's not then. The Percolator's not open right now then, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Not the one, not the original one. There might be like some.
No, that shut down years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so there might. So it's not the original owner. If there is a Percolator, there might be just.
Right.
For all we know, it's a juice spot, and I'm just like promoting this like random ass place that has no music.
What a great name, Percolator.
Yeah. It was so cool. I felt like when I told people, oh man, a show at the Percolator. You know what I mean? Like selling my tickets. It felt cool.
Dude, the first time I ever heard the word percolator was in the bong industry.
Oh.
Like, yo, does that have a perk on it?
Hey.
Like, yeah, bro. Like, oh man, that's intense. Like,
Extra
that's
$50.
yeah, I know. And like my little like 16-year-old self, like trying to explain what percolation is. Just it purifies the smoke, man. It's like a clean hit, dude. You got it.
That's funny.
So hey, you've been touring a decent amount lately. It's your first tour, I hear.
Yep, my first one.
How many spots?
Last time I counted, it was 20. What was it?
Like 22 cities.
And maybe 22 cities.
22 cities.
Yeah.
Damn.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How long?
We started in late February.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so we're ending it first week of May. That's I think Cinco de Mayo, maybe, or I think Austin's like May 8th or something like that.
May 9th.
The first weeks of May, that's when it'll be completed.
Okay.
And I'm just like having a blast, you know what I mean? I'm just like taking it all in, learning as much as I can about it because I want to keep on doing this, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
I've seen a lot of things I didn't know, and but overall it's just been super fun.
How'd you travel? What are you traveling in?
I'm traveling in this RV.
Nice.
And it's called the Honey Whip.
Okay, cool.
And I live in it.
Yeah, nice.
Like I literally don't have that is my home.
Yeah, you're currently this is your home right now.
Yes.
Until the tour's over, or maybe who knows?
Well, it'll be we'll be taking it on tour, you know, every single city, but I don't know when we're gonna actually get a place, you know, like a real place, because right now it's just so convenient to have this RV, you know, like before the tour, we had already been on the road in it for a year.
Okay.
And we were traveling all over the place. Like we started in Vegas because about 3 years ago, has it been 3 years since we moved to Vegas? 4 years? Yeah. It's been like 3-4 years since I moved from El Paso to Vegas to pursue music like full time. And
why Vegas?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Well,
it's a crazy,
I moved
awesome
to
city.
Vegas because he had already he had lived there. He had a work there and stuff like that because he also does media. He worked for a media firm, real good media firm out there. Cool. By the way, shout out Tams. And it was just like the perfect place we felt to take our first step outside of the city. Not that we felt that we would blow up in Vegas. We just felt that it was the best first step. It was super comparable living, like the price of living.
Yeah, cool.
Is super similar to El Paso. The weather's similar, the people, everything like that. And I feel like it was the most comfortable transition from El Paso.
Okay.
Because everyone wants to like just take the leap and like go to LA first, and then it just chews them up, spits them out. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, I don't know about that. And so me and Dia started talking. We're like, I think Vegas would be a good move. You get away from all your comforts, and then you can focus on music and focus on what we got to do.
Nice.
So that's what we did.
How are the venues in Vegas? They got cool spots to play?
They have cool spots, yeah. I mean, a lot of the, like, you can't say you did the dopest spot in Vegas because the dopest spot in Vegas is, like, where J-Lo's performing, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
MGM Grand.
Yeah, that,
Dude,
those are the dopest
like the
spots.
clubs, like XS and all that.
The clubs are crazy, man.
Crazy,
and
man.
then they're crazy expensive to get in.
Oh, yeah.
The drinks, like, I mean, it like, you gotta save up sometimes to go out.
Yeah, no, for
Especially
sure.
if you live there, you can't go out every weekend.
Yeah,
you
dude,
know
it'd be
what I mean?
fun to play in one of those clubs, though.
Oh, yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
energy there, like it's. I mean, hit or miss. Like maybe the crowd's like a bunch of people who like
No.
aren't really fun, but
I think that the
gets pretty
thing
wild in
about
them.
Vegas crowds is they're there to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
so
crazy.
I'm always like,
Yeah.
man, I want to do a big show in Vegas. Like, you know, I did like meet a lot of the local scene there,
Cool.
and there was just like a lot of the spots, like the local spots, they were really cool too. So it's super. I feel like it's super comparable to El Paso, aside from the fact that there's more. At the time when I moved, there was more variety of people. Like, it wasn't just rappers. There was a lot of singers. There was a lot of, like, photographers, videographers.
Oh, cool.
More than I had seen in El Paso at the time.
Okay.
But now I feel like that's changing here, you know?
Yeah, dude, El Paso's creative scene seems to be on a boost right now.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's definitely,
Crazy.
it's blowing up in its own way, I feel. And I feel like in a couple years, like, don't be surprised if there's many, many more people blowing up from El Paso.
No, that's what I'm thinking too, man. It seems like we're at like kind of like that tipping point where people, like, we finally have enough artists who are kind of doing the thing outside of El Paso and are exciting to kind of look at and be like, oh, Krystall Poppin's out there. Like, the Swell Kids did some stuff. Khalid, like, there's a lot. I mean, at the drive-in, like, kind of changed the way for, I mean, I'll argue pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
But so it seems like I don't know, in my generation we had a few artists who like were actually doing things, but it, like, especially with the rise of technology where, you know, you don't have to go to this huge expensive recording studio to get a song written. You can do it on a laptop maybe. Like, you can teach yourself a lot of skills.
Yeah.
Just kind of takes discipline and practice. And like, I feel like El Paso's in a good area. You know, we have good weather. We have fun people.
For sure.
Got that border culture, which is like huge right now. Like, being on the border is like one of the cooler things, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man. And then I really love the fact that, like, since more eyes are starting to be on El Paso, they're starting to see how beautiful it is. You know, like the culture, the people, the food, like even like this. I feel like the desert is beautiful.
Oh, I
you know
love
what
the
I mean?
desert.
Like, I feel like people are starting to appreciate that, and it's kind of like coming into, you know, the trend. I feel a little bit.
Dude, my wife's from Costa Rica, and she used to kind of hate on the desert.
Oh yeah.
And like, I love the desert. Like, I love all the plants, the animals, and so like we go on walks, and I'll just like throw out like, yeah, that's an ocotillo, and these are kind of the birds that like it. This is what kind of goes. And now she like knows all the plants and stuff. And
Oh,
she's
that's
like,
cool.
wow, man, look at all those ocotillos over there. Like, oh, look at the creosotes. Like, is that a hummingbird? What kind? Like, it's like, yeah, this is a great migration for
That's
hummingbirds.
cool.
Ooh,
That's
fun
cool.
fact: the bee migration in El Paso. This is like one of the Chihuahuan Desert has the biggest diversity of bees in the world.
What? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, there's people.
I love bees.
I don't like that.
No, I personally,
I'm not down with that. What
I
the fuck
personally
did you
love
just
bees.
say?
Like, because honey's like my favorite thing in the world.
Honey
Yeah.
whip.
So yeah, that's kind of
Honey whip. There you go.
I'll tell you why we named it that, but has to do partly with the fact that I love honey. It's like
Partly, okay.
partly. So I love honey, and I always tell these guys, like, after my career is like, you know, down the line, and I have all this, you know, success, I'm gonna open a bee farm, and I'm gonna have my own honey, and like all this stuff. Like, that's like my business like venture.
Dude, there you
later
go.
on. But yeah, so it's named the Honey Whip because we had taken the Honey Whip on its first road trip to LA. So we were in Vegas, we went to LA, we're like, okay, it's ready. Let's see if we run into problems or whatever. So we took it to LA, and we were like, all right, well, we got there, and I was like, let's get some breakfast. And so we went to the grocery store. I had to get my honey.
Guys.
Yeah, let's get some breakfast. So we bought honey. I used to eat like toast and honey every morning. So we got this big thing. It was like maybe like the size, like it was as tall as a 2-liter, not as
Yeah.
thick.
It's because honey's expensive, so we
Yeah.
always have to get, like, you know, whatever we can get the most affordable. But we're in
It's
LA,
like tiny usually,
and we
right?
find this huge thing
It
for
was
like
huge.
$20, like a super great value. And we're like,
Yeah.
man, we have to get this. Is the biggest honey container I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We're getting that right now.
So we bought it, And then we ate breakfast, whatever. We cleaned up. We went and walked around, explored LA. And when we walked back into the RV, and it was a hot day, by the way. We walked back into the RV and just like in the cabinets, like dripping honey, like raining honey. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on? And I opened the cabinet and the bottle had spilled over. And the heat was just like melting it all over the place. And I was like, oh, it was a disaster. But like,
you're like, well,
that's what I wanted to do.
A little Pooh Bear.
Yeah. But ever since that day, like, I was super pissed at the moment. But then later on, we laughed about it. And then we were like, well, we got to name the RV before we take it on this road trip. Like, what are we going to name it? And then D was like, oh, it has to be something with honey because of that day. And I was just like, yeah. So we named it the Honey Whip.
Nice.
Because ever since then, whenever it's warm
sticky
outside, it's the like honey still seeps from like the sides of
the
cabinet.
like
still bubbles
honey.
out.
It bleeds honey.
It's like The Shining. You saw like honey. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget.
That's funny.
Dude, so actually, I want to jump back into bees too because I'm going to dabble with bees a little bit.
Yeah, I love. I can talk about bees with you all day. By the way,
San Elizario is actually trying to make they're trying to become like a bee city, where like bee tourism will go and like they tell you all about because it's like right in the I mean, to be honest, I keep saying migratory. I don't know if bees migrate. I'm pretty sure they do. Like I don't think they just stay in one spot.
Yeah,
African bees definitely do.
Oh yeah, dude, African bees. Did you guys ever watch that as kids in the '90s about like the movies with like Attack of the Killer Bees and all that?
Killer bees.
Dude, that fucked with me hard, man. Fuck, dude.
Oh shit.
Just like in the mall and all the mall, dude.
That's funny.
God, I want to watch that again. Actually, I haven't seen that in a while.
That's funny.
Dude, I want to get like Tyler the Creator out here and be like, yo, dude, if you care about the bees, really, like come to the bee sanctuaries, man.
Yeah.
LA ain't got shit for bees. Like, get on over here.
That's funny.
Wasn't there some hip hop called Killer Bees?
Yeah, Killer Bees, Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There
See, bees have been in hip hop culture for decades.
Yeah.
And honey for sure.
And honey for sure. Honey for sure.
Yeah.
So wait, so you had a 22 tour stop. It's been a few months.
Yeah, it's been a few months.
What are the highs and lows of touring? Because like creating music is one thing, but then touring and like going to new crowds and like how are the crowds different in different places?
Each crowd is always different in every city because I mean you also have to consider like the crowd, the people, the culture in like Kansas City is not going to be the same as like Omaha, Nebraska, you know what I mean? Or like where else did we go? Like Santa Fe, you know what I mean? Like it's so different.
Or even El Paso.
Or even El Paso. It's cool. Like I think that I just approach it to where I kind of see like what they would like rock with, you know, like if I can like get crazy energized and if the energy in there is like high, then I just go all out. I mean, I try to go all out every time, but when it's like a tough crowd, they don't really know who I am. They're here for the headliner, you know. I just trying to like make them feel like, you know, like I'm bringing some real stuff here, like make them have a good time. That's exactly. My mission at every show.
Up, like pull it out of them. Like, you know, you guys aren't that hot right now, but like, you know what? I'm excited to be here. I know you guys will be excited about my music. Let me see if I can get that out of you.
Exactly. Nice. Like get them excited, you know, even if they're not at the moment. So that's what I think that I do, and it's cool. Like it's crazy. Seeing everybody, like I'm just like picturing all the crowds right now. I'm just like there's so many different. Oh my God. Yeah, but it's cool because like no matter what, whether there's like people like a bunch of guys, a bunch of college crowd or whatever. At the end, everyone kind of comes off and like wants to shake hands, say hi, take pictures, and I just want to be like thankful to them. Nice. You know what I mean? Like if they're taking a picture, I always say thank you, appreciate that. Or if they say like, oh, you had a good show, like I really liked your set, I just like be super appreciative. And I think that that's what they like.
Yeah, man, it's always fun to like go up to your artist and have like a good interaction instead of like, no, fuck off, dude, I'm tired.
It's so easy to be that guy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't want to be that guy.
Did you play in college towns too when you're on your tour? Or was it
a couple. The craziest, like the one I didn't expect was Liberal, Kansas. Have you ever heard of Liberal, Kansas?
Liberal, Kansas?
No, right?
Wait, what
I hadn't heard about it.
There?
Huh?
What university's there?
Oh, what university? I mean...
I think it's like, I don't know.
It was
It's a community college.
Oh, damn. Because I used to rock in Kansas. Like,
really?
Yeah, I used to go to KU a good amount because I went to Oklahoma State. And so, like, Kansas is pretty crazy.
Yeah, Kansas.
Surprisingly.
That one, I didn't expect it. You know what I mean? Liberal, Kansas. I think the population there was like 3,000 people maybe. Population, okay?
Yeah.
So we were just like, oh, it's going to be a small show. You know what I mean? Like, in and out.
We went through a blizzard to get there.
Oh,
damn.
We did. Okay. I'll tell you about the blizzard. So, and then I'll get into the show. So, before Liberal, we had gotten like real like news that the weather was going to be really bad and that we needed to leave the town that we were in at the moment early, like super early, to miss this blizzard that was going to happen. No, we woke up late and we took off and we went right into this blizzard, and it's like moving the RV. There's like snow going in every direction. I don't know where the snow's coming from, and it's super scary. It's super freezing. And then my man, then DS, he was just like, maybe we should cancel. Maybe we shouldn't go. And then I looked at him and I was like, no, we're not missing any shows. Like, this is what dreams are made of.
This is the make or break.
We are not going to give up. We're going. And so, yeah, we went real slow, and we battled it, and we made it. We made it to Liberal, Kansas. And I was just like, oh, it'd be really cool if this show was cool. Okay. I'm expecting like 30 people to be there. You know what I mean?
I'm not expecting
like,
anyone, because it's a blizzard just came through. The whole thing was snowed. It's freezing. The RV is like barely alive. And then we show up to the venue, and I'm like no one is gonna come out of their house.
Like the floors are ice, by the way. Like to walk to the venue across the parking lot, it's frozen, just because like it's that cold.
That black ice shit.
So we didn't think anyone was gonna go, but no, like by the time showtime came around, I walk out of the RV, I walk into the venue, and this place is popping. Like it's a lot of girls, a lot of guys, like everyone's jumping. These girls are like twerking. Like I'm just like, what's going on?
Kansas
it's a
fucking
party.
Crazy.
Yeah, Kansas is crazy. It was a party up in there.
Nice.
And then I was like, yeah, like so I'm like getting confident. I was like, this is gonna be a good show. And as soon as I jump on, like I think like people get shocked like at my first song, just me jumping up there, the fact that I'm a girl, I'm rapping. You know, everyone's just like, what's going on? Like they're trying to see, like they trying to understand what's going on. And then after like my second song, then everyone start like grooving and stuff. I mean, by the end of it, everyone was jumping. Like everyone was having a good time. I could have stage dived if I wanted to. I didn't.
Nice.
You know what I mean? But I could have, just because that's how poppin' it was. I was this close to doing it. But it was cool. Like that was a cool city. I definitely want to go back.
Nice, dude. Liberal, Kansas. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Liberal.
One day you guys will listen to this and be proud of yourselves. Have you stage dived before?
One time at Neon Desert.
You did Neon?
Yeah,
you played Neon?
I played Neon, yeah,
nice,
definitely.
Yeah.
I did Neon actually 3 years in a row. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
It was cool. Like, that's the year that we performed with Evander Grimm on the big stage, like on the legit. It was the same stage that later on that night Future performed on.
Oh,
so
nice.
it was kind of like cool.
Oh, I was at that. I was
you were at that one?
Yeah.
So that stage, that earlier in the day, that's when we all went on. And it was cool. Like, when Evander came out, it was like a collective of everybody, like a lot of the rappers in the city that were on that stage. Evander came out and he did his song Right Now, the one that blew him up.
Yeah.
So he dove, and then like people were just diving, and I was just like,
fuck it,
I'm gonna go. And I did it, and it was so fun. I was just like, because I didn't know what it was gonna feel like, you know, like you never know if you hadn't done it before. And I jumped in, and like people were just like passing me around, you know.
Nice.
Like it was fun. Like it was a cool moment for sure.
Dude, I've crowd surfed before, and then I was successful with me, and then we were it was like in high school, and this girl was like, we're gonna throw her in to the crowd. And she's like, yeah, she was all down. We did it. It was great. Literally threw her in the air. Everyone moved, and she broke her shoulder.
No.
Like, it's like straight up broke her shoulder, like ruined the whole day. Like, was the word, like, it was just like, ow. Like, how did we get up and make it? And like, you just literally, it was just like partying.
Die.
And then, dude, it was so bad. I felt terrible. It was Warped Tour 2, and I was like 16.
Oh, man.
And so like, we probably didn't like throw her up well, you know. It's just such a, God, dude, I still think about it being all sad, man.
Oh, man, that's terrible.
Dude,
I mean, that's a fear you have when you do it, right? You're just like, this is 50-50 right now.
They separate. Like, like maybe I jump into like the guys who don't want it. And they're like, nah.
Who was it? Coolio, he stage dove, and not only did they not catch him and he fell on the floor, but I think someone jacked his chain or something.
I've heard that.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
He got robbed while he was on the floor.
Oh, man. See, that sucks.
That's a tough crowd.
Yeah, that's a tough crowd.
How stoked are you in the crowd that you're like, yo, I robbed Coolio? Like, what, bro? What?
Man.
Somebody cut off his braids.
Oh.
Getting harsher and harsher.
That's terrible.
Nice. You wanted Gangsta's Paradise.
Yeah, exactly. No, certain places you shouldn't stage dive.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really curious about where you're going to take your music. What do you have planned next?
Well, I have a lot of songs that are ready to go. I think that what you can say about it is that I'm I'm doing a lot of storytelling, kind of like talking about what's currently happening, cool. I think, in my life. I still do like braggadocious stuff, you know what I mean? Because I feel like even though like I've been doing it for so long, technically I'm still a new artist to like the industry. Mm-hmm. So I still need to like claim my place. Uh-huh. But at the same time, I feel like my skill has grown enough to where I'm starting to like tell a story, you know what I mean? Cool. It's starting to like shape it. And so that's that. I feel like as of right now, that's what you're going to hear a lot from me. But like eventually I feel that it's going to evolve into something that where kind of like where my rap and my experimental band kind of like meet.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
When I become this like seasoned in the industry and everything like that, like don't be surprised if I'm out there with like a band doing this like a rap experimental sound.
Cool.
And that's like my ultimate dream for sure.
Nice. So when you were touring, like, would you like you opened up for people? Who would you open up for? Anyone we know?
Well, on tour, I'm opening up for G2 Garza.
Okay,
so
cool.
It was his tour.
Nice.
Like his team, his people, everything.
And he reached out.
And I joined. Yeah, he did reach out.
Nice.
He contacted my manager, and he was just like, "Hey, so how I got the tour was he had an El Paso date, and he needed an opener for El Paso. So someone had told him about me. So he hit up my manager, and he was just like, hey, so we need an El Paso opener. We heard Krystall's really good. Would she be interested? And we're just like, yeah, for sure. Hell yeah. Like put us on the bill. No hesitation. And then after they were talking after a while, they ended up saying, why don't you join us on the whole tour?
Fuck yeah.
And we're just like, whoa.
Say what?
Yeah. Just like, that's big.
Nice.
So we did that. I mean, that was maybe a month before the tour started.
And you already had Honey Whip? She was ready?
I already had the Honey Whip. Yeah.
Nice.
We were in Nashville at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a whole, I'll give you like the Honey Whip rundown after this story. But yeah, so they invited us on their whole tour. And so that whole month before the tour started, we prepared, we got everything ready. I was just like going harder. I was finishing more songs. I was working out harder and everything like that. And just making sure that I was physically ready, mentally ready for what I didn't expect, what I didn't know was going to happen.
Yeah.
Just be as prepared as I could. We got 3 a.m. We were just like, hey, like we got this tour. We need a DJ. Do you want to do it? And he was just like, yeah, let's do it. So we got it together and we did the whole tour, and I mean it was cool. Like the first show, I think like just first meeting them, I was nervous just because I was like they're much more established as far as like experience on tour. Okay. You know, like I don't want them to think I was like this newbie, this rookie.
I want to be impressive.
Yeah, I wanted to be impressive and stuff. But we just gave it our all every time, and I think that they appreciated that and how professional we keep it, you know what I mean? Like we stay on top of our shit out there. So
how did you mentally prepare for it?
I would just like meditate.
You meditate? Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I would like meditate. I would write, like aside from like the songs I was writing like in my journal, or like I would just like do like some rhymes here and there. When I would work out, I would listen to like calming music. Like sometimes I'd be like getting energized,
Fair enough.
Or like listening to my set. Like I had my set planned out, and I would just like work out to it. But sometimes I would just like listen to like real calming music and stuff like that. And I was just like trying to like be super positive about everything.
Nice.
You know, like mentally be positive.
Yeah.
And because it's real easy to freak out about like opportunity, you know. And I decided a long time ago that I wasn't going to freak out about opportunity, that opportunities are moments to be excited and not worried.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's what I choose advice. The excited line, not the worried line.
Nice, and that's tough, man. That's tough to kind of get your head out of being worried and being like, no, dude, let's turn that into excitement. Let's be excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
And I feel like, I'm sorry?
You mentioned more than a couple of times about making those kind of like decisions, very strong decisions one way or another. I think that's really powerful for artists because, you know, if an artist doesn't put out another record, nobody misses it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like that self-assurance, I'm just still tripping on it because I think it's so necessary for so many talented people, and just to see you subtly mention how the self-assurance has helped you not only just for your stage presence, but in the decisions of like just that self-assurance, like we're on top of our shit out there on tour. Like it takes all that effort of you knowing that you want that and just to see it through. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
just
awesome
like the ability to like know that you mentally can be like, yo, yes, I'm going to. Not like, oh, my emotions are going to control me and I'm just like on that wave. It's like, no, I'm making the decision to do it and do it right. And here I am.
It took a while for me to reach the point where I was being super positive all the time. You know what I mean? Just because the journey of an artist is always a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But, I used to have super anxiety, like really bad anxiety, just because I would worry. Yeah. You know, like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And when I decided that this was going to be, you know, like stop being a little punk, you know what I mean? Like this is what you're here for, this is what you're gonna do. And I think a lot of it attributes to the fact that I don't have a plan B. And I decided I wasn't gonna give myself a plan B. You know, like this is what it's gonna be and that's it.
Yeah, this is how it is.
Yeah, whether like if I try and I fail, I'm gonna find a different way to succeed, but I'm still going towards the same goal no matter what.
Nice.
And I just have no other choice. I give myself no other choice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, so talking about worrying, for some reason this quote my grandma used to say I really liked. It's worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why I was so deep, but I was like a kid. I was like, damn.
That's a good way. I love that.
Doesn't get me anywhere.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. And I read well, now there's a 50 Laws of Power, but what's the original one?
48 Laws of Power? Oh, damn, Graham Greene.
Yeah.
I read
that book.
No, 50 Cent did his own version.
Yeah, he did.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So now there's a 50 Laws of Power.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
There was a 48 Laws of Power, and just reading that book, I think, helped me, like, mentally be in the space that I'm at now. It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Man.
It's like, I love it because it's like no matter what, he tells you how you're going to win.
Yeah.
Whether, like, because in that book, like, whether you're going to win, it is not always a nice way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And he gives you, dude, so many good examples, too, about, like, historical figures who just stepped up to the plate and, like, got it done.
Yeah.
Dude, he just came out with the Laws of Human Nature, which is really good.
Oh, wow.
Dude, all his books are great.
For sure.
Audiobook when you're traveling, he's, like, a great audiobook.
Yeah, I love that.
So, wait, you were in Nashville. What happened with that? What happened with the Honey Whip?
So, when we first left Vegas, the original plan was we were going to start a vlog. We were going to call it The Honey Whip, and it was going to be about the journey of me, DS Jr., and his brother at the time, Hiram. Well, he joined us at the time. Okay. And he was like, is he still his brother now?
I was like, whoa, I don't want to ask anything.
Still his brother now. No, at the time, his brother had joined us. And he was doing, like, the shooting, like, it was in the videography and all of that. Dee was, like, handling where we were going to go, like, you know, the background, stuff like that. And I was kind of, like, the face of it. And that was the decision. We had renovated the RV inside. We built a studio inside.
Ooh, nice.
And we were like, we're going to make music on the road. We're going to vlog it. And we're going to do a YouTube channel. You know, that's what we wanted to do. And eventually the music is going to speak for itself after the show. And so we went to a few cities, and then just opportunities just started, like, coming our way, you know, kind of falling in our laps in a way. So, like, we went to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, we didn't know anybody. We knew one person. And from that one person, we ended up finding, like, the local hip-hop scene. We became, like, familiar faces in the scene out there in Atlanta.
Nice.
We met a bunch of people. We met some A&Rs. We met, like, some producers, people that were really, like, excited about us, like, to see us out there and everything like that. I ended up doing the festival out there called A3C. They say it's kind of like similar to South by Southwest. It's a week-long thing. There's conferences as well as concerts and stuff like that. I ended up playing that after 2 months being out there. Okay. So that was really cool. So after we were out there for about 3 months, then we got contacted by an A&R in Nashville that had heard about the Honey Whip show. And he was like, hey, we would like to meet you. So come out to Nashville and we can, like, you know, just kind of see where it goes. And it was a big, like, leap for me and Dee, I think, at the time. Because we were just like, we don't know these people. We don't know what they want or what, you know. But
Nashville, Tennessee is a little weird.
Yeah, and I mean, we had never been there. And is there even hip-hop in Nashville? I didn't even know that.
But the reason why we went, just like, it wasn't just like randomly someone's like, hey, come over here.
Hey,
and say, yes.
I like shows.
Nah, it was because it was Jim Johnson's people. And Jim Johnson is like a huge producer in the industry. And it was why would we say no? You know what I mean? Like, it was more like that. So we were getting ready to go to Tennessee anyway, because it was when that hurricane was coming. And sorry, I got like bad allergies, so
no, you're good.
That's why I turned the mic on.
Terrible allergies right now.
We're getting ready to go to Tennessee because the hurricane is coming, and we're like, we can't be in Atlanta, like the RV is gonna fall apart. So we're going to Tennessee, and then we're at the gas station putting gas, and that's when we get the call, like, why don't you guys come to Nashville? And we were like, yeah, we're on our way right now. They're like, yeah, bring the RV. We'll find a way to park it. You know, we'll help you guys out, whatever. And then, and we were like, okay. So we showed up and we went straight to, you know, Jim Johnson's studio. We met Jim Johnson that night, and it was cool. That's how we ended up in Nashville.
Nice, dude. That's cool.
Yeah.
So hey, we're kind of getting close to starting to wrap it up, but
I just want to point something out.
I'll point it out. Go for it.
Isn't it funny that after years of working hard and developing
Blizzards,
yourself
hurricanes,
and just, you know, over and over just struggling, isn't it funny how after all that opportunities just fall into your lap?
Yeah, it's so ironic, right?
The crazy thing is that you have to go out there and get them.
Yeah,
you have to go out there and find them.
Yeah. The fight comes, and if like when opportunity comes knocking, you still got to grab the apple.
Yeah,
you know? It's not gonna fall off the tree.
It's crazy because had we not worked those years, like feeling like maybe we're being stagnant or like this isn't going anywhere, but we kept pushing through and we built, you know, like a solid foundation, then taking off and going out there actively hunting for these opportunities, those opportunities are finding us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it goes hand in hand. Like they wouldn't have found us had we not gone.
Amen.
You know, I didn't know we were gonna get A3C in Atlanta. I didn't know we were gonna meet Jim Johnson, be out there in Nashville, and like do all these things with these awesome producers. But had we not taken the leap in the first place, that would have never happened in a million years. You know what I mean? If I was just sitting in Las Vegas or El Paso on the internet, Jim Johnson wouldn't know who I was right now.
Yeah, amen.
You know?
It's everyone out there, take notes.
Yeah,
exactly. It's become like my whole sermon because a bunch of artists, like, they see her and then they're like, who's responsible for her? Like, it's that dude. So then they hit me up, and it's like I keep telling them they have to leave. Like, if you wanna really make it, you gotta leave El Paso because the opportunities are greater elsewhere, like at the way that the music industry is set up. Like, everybody goes to LA to blow up, or New York, and all, like, everybody knows that, and everybody fails for the most part. But it's still the labels and the music industry and the lawyers and the managers and the A&Rs and the booking agents, they're not here. You got to go out there and you got to find it. You got to learn the business side of it. And once you learn the business side of it, then you can take the appropriate steps to get further in your career. Making the music is actually the easy part.
Yeah, it's only part of the whole game.
It's only part.
I would argue and say that just moving around in general, because you could be in Atlanta working hard for years and never get an opportunity.
Get out of your comfort zone, you know, like test yourself out of that realm, you know.
Yeah, like so we didn't know there was going to be an opportunity in Nashville. You know what I mean? So if someone's in Atlanta forever and they think like, oh, there's A&Rs here, there's producers, there's all these managers, everything here, and they never leave, that might never come your way. But maybe in, I don't know, San Diego, like you go over there and you do a show, boom, there's someone that watches you and that person has the opportunity for you. And you thought this whole time, I was in Atlanta, I thought this is where, you know, people blow up. Yeah. You have to move around regardless. I don't care if you're in LA, Atlanta, anywhere, you need to move around if you're an artist.
And I mean, what she is bringing to the forefront is talent. You have to be good because yes, we met a lot of artists in Atlanta that have been doing it their whole life and they weren't getting anywhere. And I have to say it's because they're not producing something attractive, and that's the problem. And then therefore, if you're in San Diego and you're a super talented artist, someone is gonna listen to you. Someone's gonna find you and they're gonna refer you. It's a very special thing about artists that you have to have, and that's that. It's a couple things. It's like inspiration. Like, you gotta inspire someone, or you gotta impress someone. and then you as an artist, you give someone like that feeling of like I discovered something, I have to tell someone else about it. And that's really what really gets artists going. And if you're an artist and you don't make people feel anything, it's not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Your art is not reaching your audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go find your audience too. Maybe your audience is in liberal Kansas. You never knew.
Dude, who knows?
You know what I mean?
Who knows? Exactly. So I'm going to close with two things. The first is, do you really like Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, I do like Dragon Ball Z. I'm not like a hardcore fan, you know what I mean? But when I was little, I watched it, and I loved watching it. So, I mean, that's where that comes from.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Because I love Dragon Ball Z.
Awesome.
And I was like, I hope she
nerd.
I don't nerd out on it, you know what I mean?
Cool.
But
no, I respect that. Then, so speaking of another great opportunity, you're opening up for Cardi B.
Yeah.
How did that happen, and when is that happening?
So that is happening May 21st, and the way it happened was the organizers reached out as well. I think that it was after the tour started. So we were in the middle of tour when they contacted us. And I hope that it's just the fact that they saw us like moving and doing things. And they were just like, you know what, this is the perfect person to open up for Cardi B. You know, they're both females and they're both out there. Like I feel like I display like my work actively, you know what I mean, as it's happening. And I feel like I work hard and I do a lot. And I hope that's what they saw, and they saw it in me that this was a perfect opportunity for me. So they reached out, they contacted DS Jr. and we got it together, and I got booked.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's going to be sweet. Yeah. It's at the Coliseum right here in El Paso?
Yeah. Coliseum.
Damn. And so where can people, like, kind of listen to your music, touch base with you, find you? How do they...
So the easiest way to find me is at krystallpoppin.com.
Oh, cool.
I have all my social media, all my music, photos, all
Poppin
my dates.
Or Poppin?
Krystall Poppin.
Poppins?
Poppin. So the way you spell it, a lot of people get the first name wrong. It's Krystall.
Okay.
So it's Krystall with a K and two L's, and then Poppin. Poppin.
Nice.
So you can find my little hub
Sick.
is krystallpoppin.com.
Perfect.
So you can find everything
put
there.
on camera too.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Well, sweet guys. Well, that was the Woodruff Show. Thanks for stopping by and kind of having this chat with us. It was a great time. Good meeting all you three.
Thank you for having us, man. This was really fun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
back
guys.
and do a part 2 or
Yeah,
something.
dude. Hell yeah,
sure.
man. We'll be here. We'll be here.
Update later on.
Yeah, amen. All right,
For
guys.
sure.
Well, thanks for listening. We'll tune in next time. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.